Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for joining us in our series, our Road to 12K. And I'm super excited to have you take a little bit of your busy schedule. I know we're all busy, and you are super busy with all that you have going on with your businesses and everything. But I'm just really glad to have this opportunity to share with everyone on the team your story about getting to 12K and earning those bonuses. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you became a promoter to begin with?
Sure. So I basically hit middle-aged, which for me was in my 50s, and I kind of turned into a slug. I was like getting through my day, fueling myself with coffee, with Mountain Dew, and I still was planning my life around naps. Let's just be really honest here. I was still just dragging. Um, I ended up getting super moody. I mean, I would go from crying days to anger issues, just all this lovely stuff that women, deal with. And I was scrolling through Facebook one day and I came across a post from a friend, and all it simply said was, "Are you tired of being tired?" And I saw that and it just resonated with me. And I sort of went, yep, that's me. I am so sick and tired of watching life pass me by. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we stay super busy. We have our farm. I have my pottery business. My husband's an electrician. I mean, we stay super busy. And I was getting everything done, but I had nothing left over at the end of the day. I mean, I literally, we'd eat dinner and we'd both fall asleep on the couch. I mean, there was just, you weren't going to go out. You weren't going to go do anything because you were just too stinking tired. And so I got a trial and it sat on my table for a couple of weeks. And then I thought, Christy, why are you stalling? Why are you not doing this? You wanted it, go do it. And I jumped in and I was a day one thriver. And by that, I just simply mean I had energy. I will never forget my morning routine for years had been to come to the pottery studio in the morning and stop at the coffee shop right around the corner. And the very first day I drove by the coffee shop. And that was kind of my aha moment, was here was something that took the place of all that caffeine. And I wasn't a big love it coffee drinker. I was one of these got to cover it up with the sugar drinkers. So my go-to was either mocha frappes or vanilla lattes. Yeah. And we're not talking one a day. I mean, we're talking at least two a day, sometimes three a day, just to get me through the day. And I started thriving, and I just never looked back. I never had the urge to go get those drinks. I never missed the drinks. It was like the vitamin capsules, the shakes, the DFT, all took the place of what I was formerly consuming.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, and isn't that just amazing when you think about not only is it not nutritious for you, to have that much, vanilla frappes, but the cost of it. I mean, it's cheaper to thrive, obviously, especially since I know you get your products for free, right?
But even then, because the first couple of months I didn't. My husband, I told my husband that I was going to try this, and he's like, if it helps you, go for it. Yeah, I'm all behind you, go do it. And he's like, but how much is it? And I told him the cost, and at that time it cost $190 a month because they did a package with the free shakes. And he's like, well, that's a little costly. And I was like, it's only because you have no clue what I spend in the coffee shop every month. You're right. I was literally saving money by buying my Thrive over what I spent in the coffee shop. And I didn't realize it because it was a daily habit. It was, the debit card here, the debit card there. And it wasn't until I really sat down and added it up. Because a lot of times, I would get that snack to go with the drink. And we won't discuss what the snacks were because they weren't healthy either. but yeah, so bringing on the Thrive just totally changed my life. I mean, I just felt so much better, and I got rid of this habit. And for me, prior to getting my 2 referrals, it was even cheaper than what I was currently doing.
So how did you make the transition from being a customer to being a promoter?
I basically decided that everybody in life needed to thrive. I was kind of like, oh my word, I didn't know this product existed. Nobody in my area, I'm a rural North Carolina area, nobody had ever heard of it, And I thought everybody needs to know. And literally, like the next week, I was getting my oil changed, and my mechanic is a friend of ours, Jade, and he was talking about just how tired and worn out he was. And I was like, wait, I got to tell you about this. And I hit that promoter button, and he was my first referral, and he's been with me ever since.
Yeah, he's still a customer of yours now.
Well, customer, yeah.
And how many, because you've been with the company for quite a while. How long have you been with the company?
I just hit my 4-year anniversary. Yeah.
So he's been a customer of yours for 4 years. That's amazing. Awesome. So tell us then how you went from, your first referral to 12K.
Gosh, oh my word, what a journey. So it wasn't instant like for some people, and it wasn't, oh, it only took me a year, because it took me a couple, but I had to readjust how I did things. I am a potter, and I do shows, and I do in person, and the whole idea of reaching people through social media was difficult for me. So I needed a lot of training, and it's like let's just say I did a ton of training, but I didn't implement it. So I really had to then go and adjust my mindset as to why I wasn't implementing all this training. So once I got me kinked out, I started with consistency. I started posting regularly about not only my life, but about the products and the opportunity, because I wanted people to know that I was doing this and how it had affected me and how it had changed me and how it had improved me. And that if you had, these issues, if you were tired, if you were run down, if you were worn out, that this could really help you too. So I changed how I posted on social media. I started doing reach outs to people. If anybody commented, obviously I would share what I was doing and my success there. And so for me, it was just a big shift in how I was a potter, but then with this opportunity, it was really presented more for me through social media. So there was a learning curve.
And you just use the trainings that we have available in the Evo squad and the mentors on the team, right?
I did. I added a few workshops here and there with some additional training with Fraser Brooks. He does these social media workshops. I follow some people on Instagram like Jessie Lee, who's always dropping golden nuggets, and she'll do some free trainings here and there. And I just plugged into everything I could find to learn how to share without being like totally spammy.
Mm-hmm.
I did, and believe me, don't get me wrong, that first year, probably that first 2 years, I just word vomited all over everybody because I was so excited and I knew that this would help them so much, but they just didn't want that much information. They wanted to know it would help them, but they didn't want to know, 100 ways why it would help them.
Right. And you've got so much energy. You're just like, right?
Like, oh my word, you just don't know. You just don't know. I got to tell you. And they're kind of like, okay, but just dial it down just a little bit.
Right. And that is, I think, because I certainly was the same way. I coming from like the coaching world, I wanted to share with everyone, like what the ingredients do and the science behind it and like why it works. And most people are like, I don't care. I just want to know it works. I don't really care how. Yep. So that's huge. But sharing your story, it sounds like, was key in doing that. How they helped you.
It was. The other thing I found from my learning curve that I think is really important, especially to anybody new that comes on, is you have to reach out. People are watching you, but we all know that like only 5% of your Facebook people see your feed. So not everybody knows what you're doing. And so you really have to share through Messenger this opportunity or this product because not everybody sees it. And when I first got involved with the company, like I said, my personal learning curve, I thought, okay, I'll just post about it and they're all going to come running to say, Christy, what are you doing? And that's not the way it works. And it's not that they weren't interested, it's that they weren't seeing it. So it wasn't until I got over my own fear factor of reaching out to all these people and saying, hey, do you want to take a look at this, that my business really started to grow.
So do you think that was pivotal in you hitting the second rank in the company and hitting that auto bonus?
It was very pivotal in doing that. One of the other things I did was really focused a lot on follow-ups. I had a list of people, anybody that said, okay, I'll take a look, but then kind of cricketed me or ghosted me, I still followed up. I mean, I literally, I give you an example. My cousin watched me for 2 years, but I would still follow up every now and then. And anytime she would say, oh, I'm worn out, or oh, I'm so tired, or oh, I'm not sleeping well, I would say, you really need to try this. And it was through the consistency in my follow-ups that she signed up like 2 months ago as a promoter. She finally tried the product. She loved the product. It's like, I cannot believe I waited 2 years to try the product. And now she promotes. So follow-ups are key. Trials, because again, I followed up with her. She did a trial and she got engaged and she signed up.
Awesome. Awesome. So how's she doing?
She's doing really well. Her and her husband, they're out in Colorado. They've gotten started. They love the products. They're now starting to reach out to people and engage with people. And she's like, I want to do a local. I want to do this. Yeah, she's got the fire. So I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
Awesome. Awesome. And so you mentioned that I know you do a lot of like fairs and stuff like that. So you still do kind of some belly to belly Thrive promotion too, right?
Well, the way it works is when I'm doing a fair, I'm usually selling my pottery, but I always have a DFT on somewhere that somebody can see because they are conversation starters. And somebody will look at that and half of them will say, oh, is that a caffeine sticker, or is that a smoking patch or whatever? And I'm like, oh, no, this is wearable nutrition. Have you ever heard of Thrive? And I keep my business cards. I got them in the cloud office. I have a whole box of business cards. I take them with me to every show. And it's very rarely that I don't do a pottery show that I either sell trials or sign up new customers or have at least half a dozen Thrive conversations just from wearing my DFT.
Do you take trials with you?
I do. I don't put them on the tables, but I have them tucked under so that if the conversation goes that direction, I can say, oh, by the way, here's a 1-day sample, or here's I have 3 days and 7 days and 10-day trials.
For sale. Gotcha. Yeah. And I do the same thing. I'll carry them in my purse or have them in my car, that when I'm out and about and someone asks me about it, I'm like, oh, have you ever heard of Thrive before? You need to try this, Absolutely.
And it's so important because at that moment in time, they're engaged and they're interested. And if you go ahead and talk to them, then a lot of times, you've got the sale or you've got the sign up. Whereas if they go home and they get busy with life, they kind of forget about you.
Of course. So do you think it was like the time between when you hit the first rank in the company and the transition to 12K, do you feel like it was really that much of a leap compared to like getting to that first rank in the company? So like, getting to 4K versus getting to 12K, do you think it became like easier as you went along?
I think you get used to your DMOs, your daily method of operations. You find what you can fit into your schedule. So for me, I don't get to work the business full time. There's times I regret that, but I also have this building that we just purchased and I have my pottery business and I'm not ready to walk away from that either. So I have to figure out what I can do and when I can do it to incorporate everything. We talk a lot about working this business in the nooks and crannies of your day. And I think Jennifer's the one that came back and said she hit 12K or 40K even, only working her business like 3 hours a day. So it's all about being intentional. For me, I got lost in the scroll. So the blitz sessions that we do now, where you have timed activities, I mean, you can see I've got my outline printed here, where I set my alarm and I'm going through. That really keeps me more accountable to my time, and it helps me not to get lost in the scroll.
Right.
That's
yes. I have stickies on my work, my desk that says "Stop the scroll," just to remind you. But the work with me is you get a lot done in an hour on those work with me's.
You really do. And the neat thing is, if you're not available to plug into one of our Zooms or one of our work with me's, they're in our Evo Squad page. You can go there, you can look at them. I think Jen did them. And, if you want company while you're doing it, If not, again, just print out what's outlined and set an alarm clock and just do it when you can do it. I find that like in the morning, I'll plan on working my business for about an hour. Very first thing when I get up, I'll put some posts up. I'll answer any questions that came in overnight because of the different time zones. And then I go do farm, I do dogs, I do pottery. I come back to it around lunchtime. Then I get tied up in whatever I get tied up, and then I get some more time in the afternoon and definitely in the evening. My couch time, I may sit on the couch with my husband and watch TV, but my phone's in my hand and I'm pushing buttons the entire time.
Right. And that's when most people that's when most people are scrolling and looking at your stuff anyway. So
yeah.
Awesome. So what's one thing that you wish someone would have told you in the beginning that you now know?
Don't get discouraged by the no. I used to take the no so personally because I'm, in a lot of ways, I'm a people pleaser. And people would say no, and it would like, but, and I would almost go into shutdown mode where I wouldn't send messages. I kid you not, for probably a week because my feelings got hurt. And what you have to realize is people don't know what they don't know. They don't understand the value of the 3 steps because they've never experienced the 3 steps. So you have to catch them when they're open, when they do have that pain point, when they're not sleeping, when they don't feel good, when they're looking for that solution. And I may message you today and you say no, and I may look back 3 months from now and you can say, well, yeah, I've been watching you. I think I'm ready. So don't get discouraged by the no. Just move on. There's so many people out there, and there's so many people that have never heard of this product who are looking for this product. So don't you're bothering them or pestering them. I mean, when you're doing your message, we've got scripts. They're in our Evo squad. All our scripts give them an out. If you're open to taking a look, if not, no worries. It's not super spammy. It's not all this high-end pressure, but it's saying, I would love to share if you're open to looking at it. And that's the way I talk. That's the way you talk. Tweak them to your vocabulary so it sounds like you, but it comes from a place of the heart. Not everybody is open. Not everybody thinks that way. I get ugly messages, don't get me wrong. I just go, boy, they're having a bad day, and I move on.
They really could use some Thrive. They really could use the mood support. Yeah, absolutely. And I love the concept around that is, to not get addicted to the outcome, but to stick to the process. And to go for the no, because for every 10 no's, you're going to get a maybe, or a yes. So, but like you said, just because they're not ready right now doesn't mean that they won't be ready down the line. I mean, your cousin was 2 years.
I know that. It's like 2 years I've been asking you to try this. I kept telling you needed this. And it wasn't until they actually came out here to North Carolina for a visit. And she saw me in person, and we're like the same age. And she looked at me and she went, "Oh, you look 10 years younger than me. I think I need that Thrive."
Right? There you go. There you go. Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So, we're under these bonuses right now, and it is, an exciting time, but the company always has the VIP Fast Start bonuses available to new promoters. So what advice would you give to either maybe a promoter that's getting back into it, running for these current bonuses that we have, or a new promoter that is in their Fast Start VIP period?
For me, the strategy is a little different on those. For those people that are existing promoters, like me, I am running for my bonuses under my husband's account, because that means we both get commissions, double gravy, and I can load anybody under him. His leg can grow. I can even go in there, and although it doesn't count towards the bonus, any new promoters, I can drop under different legs and kind of even out his line as well. So to me, that worked out really nicely. As far as somebody running, a brand new person coming on, I would say look at your friends. I'll be honest with you. I know they say don't spam me friends, don't spam me family, but some of my first people were friends and family, and I reached out to them because I knew the value of the product. I knew how much this product would benefit their lives. I knew, my mom who wasn't sleeping, or, my good friend who had achy joints, I knew what it would do for them. So you can reach out to friends and family. Just don't be spammy and don't force it on them. Just say, hey, you might want to take a look at this. But for that VIP period, I found that that's where my VIP people came from. They came from, that friend that could see the opportunity there. And, she's like, oh my word, and that did that for you. And then, I referred them back to the Well page. Go look at this page. Go look at all these testimonies of what this product has done for all these people. You're getting that third party validation by the hundreds.
Right. The Lavelle business page is an amazing place for new and seasoned promoters to share testimonies, because there are literally like millions of people that have shared their testimony on that page. And for sure, if you do a quick search, you'll be able to find whatever is, like your friends and family, what they're going through. You know them personally, so you can be like, Mom, look at this story. This lady who is just like you, is not sleeping well, is, in, her later years. Look how she is feeling now. Look at how she's changed and how much more energy she has. And that's, it's powerful when people see that. For whatever reason, people will believe somebody they don't know more than they'll believe their own family.
They like that extra validation. They like to see somebody else say, oh yeah, this does work. And like you said, that page, you can search and you can find just about any story that resonates with somebody else. You have teachers, there are teacher stories in there. You have nurses, there are nurses stories. You got bodybuilders, they're in there with workout products. You name it. It's in there. And it's a phenomenal resource, because if you don't have, I know that we had the 200K leaders on a while back, and I think one of them was talking about she didn't even have her products, and she had people signing up just by using the Lavelle business page and all those stories for validation.
Yeah, and they're super simple to share, right, or screenshot it right from the page. So yeah, absolutely, third-party validation, whether it's from the Lavelle fan page or from, a fellow thriver that's in our group, or, someone in another group like, Maria's page or one of those other pages. There for sure has already been a Thrive testimony that is the same situation that somebody's going through right now. Yeah. For sure. Awesome. So anything else, any tips, what's working for you now, that you want to share with us?
Right now, I've been focusing really on trials. I find if I can get somebody to commit to a 10-day trial, because not everybody's a day one thriver. 1 day, 3 days, even 5 days may not do it. But 10 days almost always works for everybody. They're going to notice something in that 10-day period. So I really like to promote 10-day trials. I tend to buy and stock up when we have our big promoter pack special. And then I'll break them down and I can offer them at a good price. And what I have found is probably 9 out of 10 people that do a 10-day trial will go on to purchase a full month. And that other person is probably still sitting on their shelf.
Like you did initially, right? So follow up with those trialers is important then, to check on them to make sure they're taking it properly and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. I send everybody directions. I have little cards. I don't have one here with me, but I have little cards that bring out all the directions, and I send one in with my packet, and then I usually text message and say, okay, here's the directions as well. If they're heavy caffeine drinkers, I may have them jump on into all full 3 steps so that we can try to get the caffeine out the door a little bit. If they're more sensitive, I'll stagger step it in. So there's different ways to bring the products into their body so that they don't get sick, from the detox, but that they just feel the benefits.
Right. So they feel good. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Christy. You're amazing. And I look forward to interviewing you when you hit 40K.
Me too. Let's hope it's this year.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear.
You're welcome.
Have a good one.